Hello, everyone. My name is Derek Singletary. I'm the currently incarcerated co-founder and co-executive director of Unchained. And before I speak today, the first thing that I want to say is that I'm extremely grateful for being granted this opportunity to speak before you on how being arrested as a child shaped the trajectory of my life. I'm thankful for that opportunity because I didn't always have an opportunity. And we all know that it is opportunity that allows us to thrive. See, until you give the seed the opportunity to grow, it will not sprout. It will not bring forth harvest. Until you give the singer the opportunity to sing, the audience, the ear, the recording instrument, he or she will not be heard. And until you give the child the opportunity to succeed by surrounding him or her with some form of cultural currency, some form of support or fertile ground on which they can flourish, they will more than likely not be successful. We see what opportunity does for individuals every single day, particularly those with the most opportunities. In that sense, opportunity and acceptance go hand in hand because I can't and I won't be accepted until I am provided with the opportunity to do something and ultimately be successful. For me, the first place that I found acceptance was in the street. That was my first real opportunity as an individual. This is where a lot of our youth are finding opportunity and acceptance 13, 14, 15 years old. By 16, that opportunity had landed me in jail. But I'm only 16. I can learn my lesson from this. I could bounce back. I'm still a kid, right? Well, not back then. Back then, I was considered a big boy at 16. So I was branded a felon, straight second-class status. And so any thoughts I had of changing, any opportunities for me to get a job and later on go to school quickly crumbled before my eyes due to this invisible status of disenfranchisement. Therefore, when I was 16, my opportunities had went away. And we all know what happens when your opportunities go away. It's the opposite of being accepted. You become rejected. For me, at 16, and a lot of others like me, rejection was the key and cornerstone to me continuing illegal activity. Why is that? Because when I was not able to operate within the safety and confines of the sidewalk, which is there to protect its citizens, its businesses, its schools, then I was essentially pushed into the streets. In my case, even further than I already was. And so, go play in traffic. It's dangerous in them streets. Now, I'm an impressionable young teenager, rejected by traditional society, and pushed into the waiting arms of the beast. I'm already struggling. I'm already misled. Now my frame of mind is slowly, surely, and continuously changing, continuously evolving to meet the changing environment. Instead of adapting to normal society, I'm adapting to the street at breakneck speed. I'm entrenched. I'm learning the lingo, how to aim at the ops, how to cook more crack. I'm being educated. And we all know you can't travel down two different roads at the same time. So my education is leading me closer and closer to the penitentiary, to the graveyard ultimately, because that's where the path of rejection leads to. See, we have this strange fixation with rejection in this country that separates this from that, categorizes that from this, and then says, we will only accept this and we will always reject that. And that more or less facilitates the directions that we go in. I remember I had come home on parole and I didn't really know what I was going to do for myself, but I knew I wanted to do better. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to school. As a stipulation on my parole, I either had to go to school or get a job. And so I signed up for Honor Dog Community College because I wanted to expand my knowledge base and better myself. I take all the initiative. I get all signed up. I fill out the papers. I sit down to get interviewed, and the lady tells me, she says, you haven't been out of jail long enough for us to give you a shot. Stay out of jail for another 6 to 12 months and then come back. We'll try this again. Bang, rejected again. And in my head, I'm thinking, lady, are you serious? I could be in jail for jaywalking or not fulfilling this specific stipulation in about 6 more weeks. I'm not sure I'm even going to make it 6 months, not without some sort of foundation, something to fill my days up with, something to keep me busy, something to support me. Remember, this is before Unchained author parole reform. And so I'm thinking that if I can't even get right after I pay my debt to society, then what other choice do I have than going back to the same thing what I've been doing. And y'all can see what I got me, right? I am the currently incarcerated executive director. Quick story, right? The other day, I called my 15-year-old son on the phone, and he was coming from church with his mother. And so I asked him, what was the word today, son? Give me the word. And he said, oh, no. And I was on his soul, right? I'd be on his body. So finally, he got frustrated, and he said, the word was God, Dad. And I get mad at my son for not focusing, not paying attention. And so I said, no, what did the preacher say? And of course, he couldn't remember, but he was finally able to pull up some app on his phone that connected him to the church. And so he said, it was Hebrews chapter 13. So I go, what verse? And again, he goes, oh, no. So I just said, all right, we're going to start at the beginning. And it was like fortuitous because it read, let brotherly love continue. Be forgetful not to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware. And so I said, son, you know what that means? And he said, no. I said, it just means to be accepting. Accept people for who they are, as if they are your own. You never know what can come of it. You never know what seed will spring forth. I worry about my son being rejected the same way I was rejected, and turning to the streets the same way I turned to the streets. Because that path is long, winding, filled with treachery and pitfalls, and all I want is for him to have the opportunity to flourish. That's all I want for every man and woman, or however a person identifies. See, Unchained is not about rejection. Unchained is about acceptance. Being unchained is a state of mind. And so if you are unchained, even just mentally, then you are about seeking and providing opportunities to yourself and those around you. This is how we build. This is how we grow. Unchained worked to raise the age for convictions, changing adult status in the New York State criminal legal system from 16 to 18, expanding opportunity. Unchained banned the box on SUNY admissions that asks, are you a felon? Facilitating opportunity by eradicating rejection. Unchained co-authored the Less is More New York State Parole Revocation Act, reforming one of the worst parole systems in the country and highest prison populations in the nation, permanently lowering the number of people in jail for technical violations by 90%, handing out opportunities like hotcakes. And today, all of you have given me this opportunity to speak, this opportunity to build, and this opportunity to grow. And so in essence, we are all unchained. Thank you.